and gentlemen, welcome to And That's Why We're Not Together, starring Hannah Andrews and David McSavage. Woo! Alongside me and Daniel.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to And That's Why We're Not Together. I'm joined by Hannah and my two princes, Jack and Daniel. Yes, we argue. Yes, we get pissed off with each other. But we are a family, and that's what gives meaning to the indifference of the universe. Although people complain about things, but is the universe really indifferent? It certainly provides us a platform in which we can breathe, thrive, and survive. Look at the sun. We revolve around it. We don't have to pay for the heat and the nourishment that it provides.
Yeah. Listen,
And talk into the fucking microphone.
Okay, I am.
Sorry, I apologize.
Language.
I'm so sorry.
Do I really have to touch my lips against the microphone?
Like Prince Harry's todger.
Prince Harry todger?
Yeah, he put cream on his todger. That was the same cream that his mother put on her lips.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
That's what he said. He wrote. Anyway, sorry, Hannah, go on.
I just came upon the idea of sonder. Have you ever heard about sonder?
What's sonder?
So sonder is the profound feeling of realizing that everyone, including strangers passed on in the street, has a life as complex as one's own, which they are constantly living despite one's personal lack of awareness of it.
Jack, do you understand what Hannah's talking about?
Roughly, yeah. It's just people live lives. Everyone we live in a society.
Yeah, but
okay, can I just say, can we just wait for a while before we talk about whatever that is, okay? Because I'm very angry and I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So I've been doing lots of gigs in the Workman's Club. They call it the Workman's Club, but it's full of Trinity students who are not Workman's Clubs. But they like I think the name Workman Club. It's kind of,
it used to be
There's
cool.
lots of coal miners, But anyway, I was doing a gig and there was this couple in the front row. And so I was picking. I was focusing on one particular woman. I was focusing on a lot of people, but this one particular woman.
You can say you pay attention to that. What happened?
So this guy DMs me and he says, "Didn't appreciate you focusing your whole set on my girlfriend, saying you're going to kiss her. Go fuck yourself. If you go anywhere near her, you're dead, you cunt." And you know exactly what I'm talking about, saying she's shy and this and that, and then saying you'll kiss her. I'll break your fucking jaw, you cheeky cunt. If I hear you went anywhere near her, you cheeky fuck, I swear you're going to regret it, you fucking prick.
That's not real. Oh shit. It is.
What? I'd make that up.
But was he there, yeah?
Yeah, he was sitting beside her and
so he decided he's going to wait till he gets home and he's going to send a strongly worded text instead of confronting you in person.
Well, I mean, let me tell you, in a comedy club, you're desperate. Sometimes the gig, for me anyway, gigs can turn in a millisecond, and suddenly the air can leave the room, and so you kind of come up with any way to get the laughter back, and so you say things that in real life you can't say. And then all the other people, some people want to take it seriously, and if people do take it seriously, then I get into trouble. But the thing is, if someone does take it seriously, I can't take them taking it seriously either, because then I feed them taking it seriously. So when somebody does freak out and get upset, I have to still stay in the realm of satire, ridiculousness, absurdity.
But at the gig, you didn't know that he was that upset.
No.
So, but that's really weird.
I think maybe they must have had. I think maybe they must have. But I do understand that level of I do understand that level of possessiveness and obsession and codependency and jealousy around being in a relationship, because it sounds like to me that they must have had an argument and she fucked off, and then in his head he's like, she's probably with the comedian, you know what I mean? You never underestimate how mental men are around girls. Like, I reckon bullfighting was started because there was a guy and he was going out with a woman and he was really jealous of her. Like, if she looked at a tree, she'd be going, a Spanish guy, why you look at, and then she was probably looking at a bull in the field and he had big balls. And he was probably thinking, why you look, ¿por qué al toro? Balones. And then, I'll show you, I kill the bull. And that's how bullfighting started, to prove to women how tough men are. What do you think about that?
Maybe. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Are you actually colouring in, Jack? Are you taking part in this podcast?
I am taking part, but I'm just, so I don't fidget with my,
Okay. Okay. So, yes. So that happened. Oh, Jack also is some breaking news. Jack is going to be doing his first. He's starting off a little kind of business. I think it's fair to say. Can we say where it is, or does it matter?
Yeah. Well, I'll. The first night is coming up, so I'll just do the first night first, and
so himself
get properly into it, and then we can reveal it a bit more.
Yeah. So Jack has been studying culinary entrepreneurship.
What does it mean?
I'm not sure.
It's food and business.
It's a very.
I think that you have problems even pronouncing.
It's a very awkward title for a course.
Whenever someone asks me what do I do in college, I just say, I just say food and business. That's what I say.
have to say, it's such a hurdle of a fucking phrase.
Yeah.
What's Jack doing? Culinary entrepreneurship.
Just say food and business.
So culinary, even the word culinary is an odd old word. It's one of those. It's one of those words that you don't use in everyday life.
No.
And then, so it's used.
What maybe makes you more sophisticated? No. Is it a difficult word and you using it?
It depends if you're using a hard U or a soft U. If you say culinary, or culinary.
I don't think you say culinary.
Culinary would make you sound more common.
No, but they say like it's almost like a QUE. Culinary.
Okay, look. Jack has been studying to be a chef. He's been learning to be a chef.
Well, learning
Not
to
really a business.
It's food and
chefing.
business, so it's like running. You learn like accounting, you learn marketing, blah blah blah. And
so
then
now,
practical
with his friend Tony, they're starting a little.
Tony Soprano.
They're starting a little kitchen in this place in town. And this when is it? Next week. It's going to be the first.
It's just like a trial thing.
Why can't I find it very difficult to explain.
Yeah, well, we'll just keep it vague for now, anyway.
Okay.
Because I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch.
And what food are you going to produce for the first menu?
It's simple food.
Just tell me what it fucking is.
Do you want to know the menu? Actually,
well, just tell me what the menu is. Or I'm going to cry if people can't speak to me.
It's just
chill out.
Take it easy.
Chill out. I tasted it yesterday, and my God.
Okay, Hannah, you're not helping.
Poetry in my mouth.
Poetry in your mouth. Okay, Jack, can you just tell me what you're going to cook?
So it's for starters beetroot carpaccio with goat's cheese.
What's carpaccio?
Carpaccio is traditionally it's raw meat that is cut very thinly and kind of arranged generally on a circular plate, kind of in a circle, served with. It's usually beef, but it can be also fish.
Oh, so you're going to do that with
beetroot.
And is the beetroot marinated in some way?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can marinate it, but you can just put a straight beetroot and a little
raw.
And yeah. And
I'm just telling you. I only like beetroot in the form of the borscht Polish soup. Is that what's mainly in borscht?
Yeah,
pickled beetroot.
It's not pickled beetroot. It's just ordinary beetroot being cooked for a long time.
But
I think I was using pickled beetroot just to do the shortcut.
You need strong.
Why beetroot?
Well,
Jack?
you need strong flavors. when you're pairing something with beetroot, so the beetroot doesn't overpower. So we're pairing it with goat's cheese, candied walnuts, truffle honey.
Oh my
So
god.
you
So
know,
good.
you know,
Okay. Why are you behaving like you're a member of a cult, and you're like, like in the Scientology?
Because I would love to be a member of Scientology.
Okay, and by the way, she's going off. Hannah's going off to Gambia. No, I'm not going to shush. What? It's supposed to be a secret. You're going off to Gambia with your boyfriend, I guess, for 10 days. So she's abandoning us, and she wants to keep that a secret. Like what? Like, can I just say there's a war on between Russia and Ukraine? They can keep secrets. There's nothing unique or strange about two people going off on holiday.
Okay. Yes.
With this guy, it's very on and off again kind of relationship. Let's see how it goes. You can send us pictures.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's brilliant, Jack. I'm really very fucking proud that you and Tony are starting this kind of business, and it's a big fucking deal. Excuse my language.
well,
And,
I mean, it's small enough, but we can maybe get
it's
it.
the start of
Yeah.
something, and I'm thrilled for you. And
Thank you.
I really wish you very well with this.
But it's funny, like you asked Jack about the menu, and he just said he just explained what's gonna be for a starter,
Yeah.
and your attention span is so short that you wouldn't want to know.
No, do you know what it is?
first
I'll tell you what it is.
And the dessert, you
I'll
just
tell-
lost the interest.
I'll tell you what it is.
That
I'll tell you what it
beetroot-
is. I'm very angry. Do you know what it is? I think I've been watching on YouTube survivor witnesses from the Holocaust for the past 2 days.
Again?
I got obsessed with it and listening to these accounts of like years of barely surviving horrific experiences every 10 days, and it's just incredible what human beings can endure. But the thing is, you start looking at them, but it does affect you. You think you just watch it and then you move on with your life, but it stays with you in your cells or in your fucking, you're just down. And why am I feeling down? Because you're listening to these things. I mean, I think people are way more sensitive than they think they are.
Definitely.
And especially, I think women are more aware of that, but I think men don't are as everyone is as sensitive as everyone else. So just be careful of that. So sometimes if you're feeling down, it's not for no fucking reason. But I was blown away by these testimonies. Okay, so that's just explaining my mood. Okay, so and onto the ADHDness around Jack explaining his menu. Do you know what it was? It was because of the beetroot. If I see beetroot to me is there's something. It's a bit sort of like, what the fuck is it? I mean, but apart from, hang on a second,
superfood.
Let me just say, apart from its color, it doesn't taste of apple. It doesn't taste of this. What does nobody says, oh, that's kind of, that's an apple-y flavor. That's an orangey flavor. That's a banana-y flavor. It's not a beetroot. What is a beetroot flavor?
Beetroot, it's actually quite sweet. If your palate is quite clean, if you eat beetroot, like a organic one, you taste sweetness.
Jack, is that true?
Yeah, it is quite sweet. And what goes well with goat's cheese is sweet flavors. So beetroot, sweet. Beetroot is sweet, and goes well with goat's cheese and stuff. So.
And what's the other? What's the other thing you're doing?
The main is chicken supreme stuff with lemon, bacon, and herb stuffing, and basil cream.
Okay. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Mm.
And then lemon meringue pie for dessert, and teas and coffee, and a little birthday cake because it's a birthday dinner.
Yes. Okay, so that's that. Yesterday I was having a chat with Daniel, and I was asking him something, and he wouldn't explain it to me properly. You remember Daniel?
Yes.
And then I got frustrated, Daniel.
Yeah.
And what happened? Did you
But
start
then, but no,
screaming?
but then, me and Daniel had another chat after that, and he explained the reason why he didn't feel comfortable about answering me in a straight way. Like let's say I'm asking Daniel, hey, something, 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 and then Daniel just gives a very vague, like, bridges and trees and seagulls or something, like some kind of opaque thing, and it drives me bonkers. And I'm like asking Daniel a direct question, and he said, but then when I calmed down and we talked about it, because of his explanation, it made me think, oh, so that was good. That was a good thing, Daniel, was it not?
I guess so. Yeah, I just don't like being put on the spot, like I'm being interrogated.
Well,
But
no, no,
also
it
it's a
wasn't. It wasn't.
tone.
It wasn't. It
Tone of your
wasn't. I don't think.
voice.
I don't think that was the reason. I think it was because, huh?
What about
I thought it was
tone?
because you were embarrassed about
Yeah,
it,
that too. Yeah.
and just just in front of.
if you're like in front of people and then, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm listening. Yeah, suddenly I know exactly what you mean. Actually, interrogated.
But
I know. I've been. There's certain people that when they fucking talk to me.
They shut you down.
Well, no, they.
Oh, you shut down.
No, but I do feel
The shutters go.
interrogated. Suddenly, it suddenly, yeah, it is really funny actually that there's certain people who talk to you, and suddenly it's like all the room darkens and there's a spotlight on you, and you're suddenly in court, and that's how I made you feel.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Um,
And that's why court is so scary for people, because it's so formal. You know, you're standing there in the dock. You know what I mean? Like people are such lying bastards that the way we have to run society is to have this formal institution where it's a bricks and mortar thing, and you have a dock, and you stand there and you have to swear to
On the
the supreme
Bible.
being. Like
no, you swear on the Bible.
well, whatever, you know, like
Don't you? Yeah.
you know, I
But
swear.
Bible is a book. You know, it's not like you can think you swear on the book. Like, who cares? Really?
It's funny. Jesus Christ was made in the image of man, so he was a man, and everybody thinks that he had sex with Mary Magdalene.
Yes, he definitely had.
I'd say that was good sex. Like
Who
Mary
knows?
Magdalene, like did she know she was having sex with the Son of God? Was she like, and was she a prostitute?
Apparently she was.
Jack's gonna look it up.
Yeah.
So Mary Magdalene.
But she was his disciple as well. But the church degraded her. She was sitting around the table with Jesus.
Well, that's certainly taken the podcast to a screeching halt.
Well,
Yeah.
she, there's different interpretations. Some people think she was a prostitute, according to Pope Gregory's interpretation, whoever Pope Gregory is.
Yeah.
But remember Conspiracy Corner the other week?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Passover plot,
Yeah.
that
The bloodline.
that Jesus did, in fact, have a child with Mary Magdalene.
Mm.
Did you say that in Conspiracy Corner the last time?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Mm.
Okay, so she was. Did you ever at any point in your life think about being a prostitute, Hannah?
No, not really. But
in front of your two sons. Your mother's a whore.
no, but
Not really. What?
No, but like you entertain things.
Yeah.
All the time
Yes,
in your
yes,
life, you're
yeah.
just not admitting it, and they should stay maybe as an entertainment in your
In other words,
head
things pop
a
into your
lot
head,
of-
and you wonder to yourself, "I wonder, could I work as a prostitute?"
Oh, you just wonder what kind of life it is, and
Yeah.
what do you do, what you feel, how does it,
I think it's some people seem to have. Some people seem to be okay with just having sex with different body shapes, and it's okay that But I think to some men who literally are so weird looking or maybe disfigured in some way that they can't get a girl, that maybe a sex worker or a prostitute, they're doing a great fucking service, possibly.
Yeah, I guess so. But like the life of a prostitute, it's not a glamour life. It's really dangerous and quite awful.
Yeah.
What about pimps as well?
Yeah.
They usually very violent and exploiting women. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. But people have choices. So I'm not condemning anything. But I don't think it was my first choice of job.
What if you were a young person in today's society? Would you consider OnlyFans?
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Well,
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, if a young member, I think a lot of apparently students do OnlyFans
Yeah.
because life is very, expensive. They need fans. They need to.
Yeah, I think the only problem with doing OnlyFans is, you're young, you might do it for 2 years or something, but it might come back to haunt you, possibly,
And
or
bite
maybe
you.
not. Maybe we will have advanced to the point. I don't know what I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm just saying, if you in your later life become a teacher or something, and then your
And they
students
find-
find your OnlyFan account, Miss, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's. But maybe if you you have OnlyFans followers and account, you will never become a teacher because you accumulate enough money or finance that your life would go a different direction.
Did you see that Sam Smith thing where he was on some TV show and somebody said, "Do you like fishing?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I'd say you'd be a good fisherman, Sam Smith." And he said, oh, fisher them." I think I know what people are saying and doing, but this idea of being on ahead of the curve or being at the start of something new. I wonder 100 years from now, will that be accepted form of parlance, of a way of talking? Will people be saying fisher them as opposed to
Fisher them.
fishermen?
Yeah. I think it's so weird. I think it's gonna.
But is it only weird because you're just hearing it for the first time?
Maybe.
What do you think, Jack?
It's grammatically incorrect though. You know what I mean? Like I'm a stickler for grammar, and
Okay.
It just complicates it. I mean.
Okay, so complicated.
I'll
Would
call someone whatever they want me to call them on a personal relationship basis because I'm a respectful person. But it's plural and singular.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
when fisherman, fisherwoman.
A person who fishes. Just say that.
So he should have said fisher they.
Yeah.
Actually, how can you take the stress out of it? Can't we just say, is there a way of saying it that I am a person who fishes? I am a human, a fisher, a fisher.
Angler.
Oh Christ, a human, a human.
Angler.
Jesus Christ.
Is that
an angler?
Angler, yeah.
Or I'm a fisher. I'm a fisher. Well, yeah, that's right. It should be I'm a fisher.
Yeah.
Because the man is I'm a fisher. So it's not fisher them.
But Fisher
he-
Price copyrighted that. So.
Do you remember that I knew that joke about pedophile going to heaven?
What was that?
That pedophile goes to
Is this
heaven.
a Polish joke?
It's a Polish
Okay,
joke.
go on then.
A pedophile goes to heaven and knocks at the heaven's gate, and Saint Peter opens it, and the pedophile says, "I'm not for you, I'm for baby Jesus." Oh, where's the laughter, Jack? Come on.
But
I'm actually gonna do the laughter. Okay, one sec. One sec.
It's just too late.
Wait a second, I
gotta
don't get
go.
that. Yeah, but he's saying that he doesn't want to stay in heaven. He
didn't come to see Saint Peter, who opened the gates
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
heaven.
yeah, okay.
He's there to see baby Jesus.
Say it in Polish. Maybe it's funnier. Get the laughter track ready, Jack. Say it in Polish. Go on. Just say.
Pedophile. How's pedophile in Polish?
Go on. Go on. Go on, Jack. Hannah, in Polish.
In Polish, pedofil idzie do nieba i stuka w bramy niebieskie i tu otwiera mu drzwi święty Piotr, a on do niego mówi: ja nie przyszedłem do ciebie, ale przyszedłem do dzieciątka Jezus.
The thing also I want to talk about is a lot of people have certain things going on that are undiagnosed, and nothing when I was growing up was diagnosed. There was loads of people who had neurological disorders. No, they call them neurological. What do they call them? They call them something now that isn't a hurtful thing. They call them
disabilities.
Not disabilities. Yeah. No, neurological somethings. Anyway, I'm sure I have ADHD, and I was saying this the other day that like when I was in school, these teachers. I went to Blackrock College. These teachers presented these subjects that, as on their own, they're fantastic things like geography, like the movement of the planet and and mountains and all that. But the way these teachers presented them were very boring. And of course, if something doesn't interest me, I'm gone. And so all I'm trying to say is that those teachers took no responsibility for the fact that students like us did not thrive in that environment. It was all on us, the fact that we failed exam, and there was nothing. A lot of them weren't great teachers at all. But also, I feel really bad for the parents who send their kids to places like Blackrock College because they pay so much in school fees. And you know the way when you pay a lot for something, you think it must be good. But it might just not be fucking good.
But it's probably better than those unprivileged schools, because what school make good is actually ambition of parents. So if most of the parents are ambitious, they pass it over to kids and raise the quality of because it's all. Are
you saying that children learn from their parents in a shoulder-to-shoulder way? So if they see their parents being ambitious, hardworking, and having a work ethic, they will pick that up and take it into their adult life?
More likely, I think.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm not for whatever reason. I'm not being very articulate. Let me put it to you this way: the Irish language, it's a beautiful language, right? If you ever hear it spoken, if you ever go down to Connemara, it's a totally different atmosphere than the English language. The English language is very angular. It's quite Germanic sounding. It's corners on it. There's a harsh sound to it. The Irish language has a Spanish feeling to it. It's it's very. It feels much more emotional. So beautiful language.
Passionate.
But the way it was presented to me, certainly when I was in school, it made me hate the language. That's how fucking badly they taught that language, right? I mean, there's one thing teaching something and being disinterested in it, but you have to be a really fucking bad teacher to make you hate the thing. So it was kind of like a torture. It was Guantanamo Bay. I mean, these guys, they'd have these big blackboards and they'd write in tiny chalk writing, I went to the thing, I did the thing, and nobody learns a language by declinations of verbs. Or what am I trying to say, Jack?
The Mokinilok.
Whatever that even means. What is the Mokinilok?
It's the conditional tense in Irish. So it's the would be.
Go
I
on.
would go.
Yeah.
But I think
so look, I want to criticize in the same way I was criticized and I was judged. They had when I was in Willow Park, they had a thing called the judgment book, and they called it the Judger. That's what it was called. And every week you'd get judgment. And the most common thing, he needs to apply himself. He's this, that, and the other. He's smart, but he doesn't work. He's very lazy. And then I think back to myself, and so then that's okay. I'm that guy. I'm a lazy person, but I mean, I'm not even saying they should have taken all responsibility, but some of the responsibility for the fact that they did not know how to present the subjects. Even the word subjects is a boring thing. These great things like geography, these great mountains, glaciers, the movement of frozen, and the things and the impact. They could have presented it in a way that, and it should have been really exciting for kids.
Yeah.
But they were fucking uncreative. They didn't think out of the box. They were a sort of, these teachers, man. But having said that, in Blackrock College, there were one or two great teachers. There was a woman, we used to call her Big Bird. Her name was Eileen O'Connell. I think she tragically died from cancer. She taught English, and she was special. And there was one or two teachers who infused in us, who woke something up in us. But then,
Yeah, but English is like, it's much easier to be interesting in English because you're reading like King Lear or whatever, and you're like reading poetry and discussing it.
I was
but
never,
then,
yeah.
But then, Irish, unfortunately you have to go through all these different tenses. You have to conjugate verbs and everything. It's hard to make it interesting,
Well, you see, that's just as well you're not a teacher then, because can I just say that the time I learned how to speak Irish was going to the Gaeltacht.
Yeah, but not everyone can go to the Gaeltacht.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is they should have employed that thing in class.
Well,
they should have made it fun.
How are you going to do that?
You only have
30 minutes in the
classroom. Get a fucking ball and throw the ball. Tommy throwing the fucking ball. Throw me back on Ballyocht. Fucking kick. You know what I mean? Like make something. Fucking get. This is on hammer. Fucking hammer and fucking knee.
But listen,
yeah, but you probably wouldn't pay attention anyway.
I would if I was working with my hand. I'm so upset now. My own son is judging me.
Listen, I think they realised...
And my tooth is falling out.
Listen, I think... I'm not defending a system in Ireland, but I think the educational department, they realised that they made horrible mistake with teaching Irish.
Yeah.
And what they're doing now, it's more spoken.
Okay, good. Well, I'm just saying I feel so bad.
But how old are you?
Let me tell you, back in the 80s, I feel so bad. And I actually met this guy yesterday who was in a year below me, right? Below me.
And does he have a house?
Not below me. Below me. And Hannah, these non sequiturs, they're fantastic, right? This guy went to he self-proclaimed working class, and he was telling, you meet somebody and they just open up to you immediately. And he said that all his aunties and uncles chipped in to get this kid to go to fucking Blackrock College.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. But he was looked down upon because he had the working class accent.
Yes.
And it breaks my fucking heart that this beautiful prince of a fucking man, young boy, with all the potential in the world, is sent to a place like Blackrock College, which a lot of it, I'm not thrilled with that place and the ethics that are not there, and
but
the integrity.
But you're privileged enough.
Okay, let me just say something.
Well, as far as I remember,
all
you
these
were
aunts
telling
and
me
fucking uncles, all these aunts and uncles of this kid, they send him there, and then the education that they think that he's getting isn't that good, and that's the thing. A lot of parents, rather than actually do the research, find out where their kids are spending most of their childhood, i.e. in school.
David, I think you're really mistaken. Most of people, when they sending their kids to school, it's enormous pressure. I remember trying to figure out where to send our boys.
And we sent them to a good place.
Yeah, an amount of time I spent researching, looking, going, and the stress of it.
Good.
It's horrific.
Horrific.
It shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't
horrific
be like...
is being on a death march, okay?
Yeah, but like the pressure, and also even if you send them to a private school and you pay, there's no guarantee that they're gonna thrive, that they're gonna like it, that the teacher's gonna be good. You know?
Look, fair enough. Okay,
The pressure, the pressure is relative.
And that's another thing.
But it's not necessarily about the content of what you're learning. It's like you're trying to get a certain number at the end of school so you can go into whatever else you want to progress to. But it's also, if you go to a certain school, you might, meet your friends. You might meet. So that's why people want to send their kids to BlackRock or whatever, because they'll become friends with other kids, and their kids come from this family whose father owns this insurance company, or his father owns this company, so that when my kid's older and he's finished college, he can go do an internship at Billy's father's company.
Yeah, but
And
that's what I said. It's ambition
networking,
of the parents.
Well, it's ambition of the parents. It's about
But it's okay.
it's about
Connections.
it's about connections. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Listen, I
think you're very angry, Dave. That's what it.
Well, I'm very angry when you won't let me finish a fucking sentence. No.
Are you channeling your father?
No, I'm doing an impression of Paul Chowdhury, who we have to have on the podcast. No, I guess because my school years were a large amount of waste of time, and so I just don't have much faith in education.
Me neither.
And
no, it's necessary.
But I think what Jack is making the point is, it does socialize you, and there are obviously. Sorry, I do. Education is hugely fucking important, but I'm just saying how it's presented, I don't have faith in, maybe. But I'm thinking back to when I was in school. But I can't imagine it's that much better now. You think it is?
But I think you're talking about Western society. Listen, if you look at India.
I mean, look at fucking NCAD.
Look at India. The only way from poverty is education.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you've got even some charities paying for girls going to study medicine. So could you imagine someone who is from like extreme poverty ending up as a doctor? This is enormous. This is enormous.
Yeah, no. So maybe me giving out about the
achievement.
fact that I think I might have ADHD and I wasn't concentrating in school. It's like, get over yourself, mate. You're lucky that you're in a position that you could thrive if you fucking did the work, and you didn't. And if somebody from a poor background, like, was in that position, they'd thrive even if they did have ADHD. You make a good point, but it does break my heart meeting that guy from working class background, his aunts and uncles chipping in to get him into fucking Blackrock College, and them looking fucking down on him. It just kills me.
What is he doing now? Is he successful?
I hope he is. I think he had 6 kids, and he works in a construction business.
That's big money.
It's also like when you're in a classroom, like if every kid was enthusiastic, then the class would be, and engaged in a class, then the class would be more interesting. But even in college, I'm sitting there, and no one in the class, people are like too shy to ask questions, answer questions, because of the fear of the other people thinking they're stupid or they've said something stupid.
Right.
So there's a lot of interplay between the actual students, which has a big effect on the mood of the classroom. So say you're a kid who's not necessarily very popular or whatever, and you are actually interested in this subject, but you don't want to actually engage in the class because of fear of what the other kids will say.
You mean the thing?
And you don't actually want to look interested in something because is uncool as well.
Yeah, that is.
You want to be nonchalant.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Let's talk about that. I want to take a little break because I see Ruby wanting to get in. Just 2 seconds. That's very good. Let's just little bathroom break. Yes. Sorry. Let's go. Let's record. Are we recording? Okay. Sorry. As awkward and as stoppy-starty as this podcast may be, and obviously there's no real. Well, here's my point. We're in this podcast for the long haul. We're going to commit at least, well, I would say we're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And because one thing is for sure, the only way you can get a in inverted commas successful podcast is to keep fucking doing it and stay together. So that's what we're going to be doing, whether you like it or not. That's why it's good to be working with family members, because you'll always be my sons.
Look at Jack's expression. He's terrified.
No, he's not.
I'm just joking.
Well, you know
It
what?
wasn't a good joke. Okay, I'm sorry. I am freaked out.
Why are you freaked out?
I'm just joking.
Okay. Yeah, so that was a really good point. In school, right, you'd be hanging around with mates, and they would give the impression that they're not working, doing doing their homework. Now, I really wasn't doing my homework, and then when it came to exam time, I'd be there like you know what I mean, and then I'd look to my left, and I'd see that guy who I thought wasn't working like this. Look. I'd be like this. Look.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
And did you feel betrayed?
Yes.
Oh, you see.
I felt betrayed, and then there was this guy. What was his name? Anthony Quinn. We called him Anthony 8A Quinn because he got so many. He just got A's all the time, and he'd be literally doing his maths just like, sir, can I have another paper? You know what I mean? And like sweat dripping off this fucking guy. This guy was like, and I'm like literally. What's the lowest mark you can get? Like NG. Oh yeah, no grade. No grade. I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Thinking that you're in the pack, but you were actually
But
alone.
it is so funny, and the complete opposite is the case. You're in school, and what was that sound?
It's you breathing.
I didn't hear anything.
I think you were breathing.
Hannah, you're testing me, Hannah. Why is this going back? Okay, it's so funny that you're in school, and to appear cool, you have to give the impression that you're not trying or not working, and as if that is a that is a bad sign. Oh, did you see him, man? Yeah, he's a SWAT. That's what we'd call them, fucking SWAT. Look at you working really hard to secure some kind of stability for your future and financial independence. By the way, yeah, what do you think of that, Jack? Is that still the way it is in school?
Yeah, but then you get further towards the end, and people get a bit more serious. But in my school, it's funny. It's a mixed school, funny now. But girls only came in. Used to be the case. They only come in 5th and 6th year. And I think for girls, I don't think that's as much of a thing. Like, oh, she's a hard worker. I think girls tend to want to get better grades. And
was that the way it was in Poland? Like, he's a SWAT or she's a SWAT.
No.
It's
actually,
yeah.
I think it was okay to study.
But it's so funny that it does a complete 180 degrees as you get older. Like, you know, the guy that was cool in school. And he's sitting outside Grogan 45 on the fucking dole, you know, and he's totally dependent on the state. It's a fucking sad look.
But it's a boys' school thing, you know. When you're in the boys' school, especially in the in your secondary school, first 2-3 years, you know, if someone's studying in the classroom when you have free time, like someone's gonna be throwing something at them, you know. But you know, it's kind of it kind of. I don't think it's the worst thing, you know.
Yeah, so
you have to hide that you do studying.
Well, no, not really, because I remember a lot of times the popular, whatever the kid like. The kid who's hanging out with, you know, the cool kid or whatever, they generally do actually get pretty good grades.
Yeah,
you
but
know, it's a weird kind of thing.
Yeah, I know
but
what you
also
mean.
it has to come effortlessly, sort of.
Yeah,
right.
It's like the
you know,
people would always say like, oh yeah, I didn't even study for that. You know, oh, I only studied for like an hour. Or
That's
something.
right.
That's
So
a lie. You should
yeah.
know it's a lie.
So I think that's so true that you know the guy or the person who does well in exams, they can't have studied. But actually, it was true. Like, there were some people in school who had that kind of photographic memory. So what I'm trying to say is, I remember being 18 and having failed my leaving cert and just thinking, like, everything that my life, everything that I mean, my life was just a complete waste of fucking time. I'd gone through the system of primary school, secondary school, and I'd learned nothing. And I had passed no exams. I had completely got to the point of being 18, and I'm just spilled out into the world. No qualifications, no knowledge, absolute failure. And it reached the peak of that when I went to, I think, Dunleary to collect the dole. And I'm standing. I went to a dole office, and I was standing in line, and this a woman behind a glass thing, and she's handing out the dole, and I was standing behind older men who were kind of holding their dole cards, in their hands, just sort of embarrassingly kind of fumbling them, and it was such a fucking humiliating experience, and I didn't stay. I left, and I thought I would rather fucking starve to death than stand there in a fucking queue saying I'm so stupid, I'm not clever enough to figure out a way to make my way in life. I'm 18. Can you just give me money for being alive or something? That's honestly how I felt. And
okay, but at least you left and you starting.
No, it did. But like I think when you're young, the worst thing to be is dependent. If you're healthy, the worst thing is to be dependent on like a government for giving you money. Like it's the worst thing. Obviously, if you're studying and you're preparing for, that's another thing. You can
if
get
you're
support
in a different circumstance,
Yeah.
you can't judge everyone just
Yeah,
because he's, But
Did I give a good account of myself there? Or did that make any sense, Jane?
yeah.
You're just saying, yeah.
But money is a motivation.
Yeah.
And also it used to be ability to have sex. It used to motivate men, to get a house, to be able to bring woman home.
Oh yeah.
And provide for her.
Oh,
it's
yes.
not the case now. That's why men are getting, confused.
But
partially.
that thing, so standing in line in a fucking dole queue. Do they still have to do it nowadays?
No.
See, they should.
You see, nowadays they just send it to your
Yeah,
account.
no, that's bad.
You don't need to, you only see, I think, older people.
It was such a humiliation, and it was such a failure. Like 18, and after all the money that was spent on me, and there I am in fucking Dunleary in a fucking dole queue after going to Blackrock College, failing my leaving cert, and standing there with the fucking form, queuing up. Oh.
I remember you telling me that you were driven to school in your dad's limo.
No. When he was
at least few times.
when he was Minister for State, he had a driver.
You know how privileged you can be. I've never been driven to a school. I've been given a key on my neck and kicked out of the house. And then I had to go back home, and I couldn't even open the door because I was too small. I had to stand on my school bag, and then the lock was rusty anyway. So I managed to put the key in, but I couldn't turn it. So me standing there in front of the door on my school bag, trying to turn the key. Did my mother worry about this? No. And then what did I do? I asked a stranger to help me to open the door.
Were you scared?
No, I wasn't. I was freaked out because I was standing outside the door for like half an hour, not being able to get in. So I asked.
How old were you?
I was 7.
Little dote.
So I was so lucky because that guy helped me open the door, and he didn't rob me, he didn't rape me, he didn't, It's.
God, most people
so
don't
lucky.
do those horrible things.
Yeah, I don't know. You wouldn't do it nowadays. But it was sweet. Okay, can we just move on?
Mm-hmm.
Just break the silence. Or maybe it's time to wrap up.
Oh yeah, do you have Conspiracy Corner, Daniel?
Yes, I do. The new Marilyn Monroe film came out, and it's
Called
called
Marlin.
yeah, right. And did you guys watch it? Did
No.
you? No?
I saw half of it.
I'm not-
Apparently, it's quite harrowing. But talk about a relationship that didn't work out. Marilyn Monroe and Bobby, and probably John F. Kennedy. She died of a supposed drug overdose, but there was certain toxicology reports that suggest that there could have been some foul play. So I present to you a question. Who killed Marilyn Monroe? Was it A, the Kennedys themselves? Were they trying to hide something? You know,
Mhm.
did they expose too many secrets while they were lying in bed with Marilyn Monroe? Marilyn Monroe did marry Arthur Miller, who was supposedly blacklisted during the
Yes.
McCarthyism, links to communism. Perhaps she had some
Death of a
links to,
Salesman, fantastic play.
perhaps she had some links to communist activities. Or was it B, the
I
CIA?
mean, C.
No, B, the CIA.
No, you said A, the
A,
Kennedys.
that's now B.
Oh, sorry, B. Oh, the CIA.
The CIA. Was it retribution for the Bay of Pigs fiasco?
What you mean? They're getting back at Kennedy by killing
Kennedys.
his lover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or were they working with the Kennedys and the Kennedys hired them? Or was it C? Was it the mafia?
Yeah. And what would the mafia want to kill Marilyn Monroe for?
To do with the Kennedys
Oh, yeah.
again. And, you know, that's what they
So
do.
ultimately, Kennedys killed Marilyn Monroe. Whatever you pick, it points at Kennedys anyway.
Well, people will say that Joe Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's father, made a lot of deals and promises to people to get the votes for JFK to be elected president.
Apparently, he asked the mafia in Chicago. It was a swing state for Nixon and Kennedy, and he asked them to what's that called? The ballots. Fill the ballots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So a lot of promises were made. So if those, if those people that Joe Kennedy got to vote for his son didn't, would JFK have been elected? So people think that because, oh Christ, Jack.
Well,
in other words,
Can you express yourself?
JFK should not have been president, perhaps, and if so maybe
He wasn't. He just was rigged. You know.
he was rigged. Yeah.
because apparently there's another conspiracy thing where so Havana, before Las Vegas, it was Havana. Havana was the casino center, and the mob ran Havana. And then when what's his name, the fella from Cuba who General Castro, he took over and he kicked the mob out. So apparently, so Joe Kennedy, people think he made a lot of money from bootlegging during Prohibition, and he worked alongside the mafia, so he had the mafia links. So he made a deal with the mafia that the mafia would help get John F. Kennedy as president, and in return, JFK would reinstate Havana as a casino and get rid of Castro.
Oh yeah.
So, and then the Bay of Seals or his Bay of Pigs, I always forget which one it is, where the expat invasion of Cuba, which was a failure alongside the CIA, happened. You know, so they failed to retain Havana for the mob to open up the casinos again. And that's why apparently Las Vegas became so big, because they had to find a new place to do their activities.
So JFK achieved something that he shouldn't have achieved, and paid the price for it. But
Allegedly.
whatever you say about the assassination of JFK, I think it changed America. I think it was a very traumatizing thing. There was maybe a bit more of an innocence.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I think
Post-war, but
I think so.
but certainly like it was before JFK and then after JFK. It was it had a very traumatizing, because JFK was such a handsome, charismatic guy, and it's something to have
And
the leader of your
allegedly-
country and his head blown apart.
It's also linked to the Vietnam War, because the Vietnam War started under JFK, and it was seen as the idea, the U.S. foreign policy was instilling freedom all over the world. Nowadays that sounds like the most sarcastic, just not real, just the most disingenuous thing you can say, spreading freedom all over the world. But at the time there was a real I think there was a real worry about communism spreading to Western countries. The Soviet bloc was really powerful and strong. So it's the Vietnam War kind of started with this guy JFK, really, in a good light, and then we all know what happened further on, all the atrocities that happened in the Vietnam War. And I feel like after JFK got assassinated, then Vietnam
You don't know what
War,
went on in the Vietnam War, Jack, because you weren't there.
Yeah,
Okay,
but like
buddy? And I was.
all those,
Yeah.
all the veterans from Vietnam War, none of them is normal. None of them is
Hey, Daniel, do you have anything for Open the Cage, or will we do it next week?
Yeah, we'll do it next week.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got to be prepared if you want to talk about something.
Okay. Thank you very much to Daniel. Thank you very much to Jack, the two princes, and thank you very much to my beautiful ex.